Green light, go, go, go.
Alrighty, hello there, everybody. Hello and welcome to Fargone Racing GT Challenge. And we are here for round 2 of the championship. Unfortunately, wasn't able to be here for the first round, but I have good news, everybody. Unlike last season, it's not going to be a once-in-a-lifetime event that Fargone gets broadcasted here by the one, the only Sensational TV. This is going to be a common occurrence. That's right. I've sorted out the problems. I've sorted out the schedule conflicts. And now it's going to be another effectively full season of Sensational TV broadcasting here for Fargone Racing GT Challenge. And I'll tell you what, that is absolutely exciting to hear, at least for me and hopefully everybody else out there, because I really love this series. I really love calling it. I love the people driving in it. And yeah, I think it is going to be a good old time. But it's a 70-minute endurance race tonight, with qualifying being a different format to one that at least I've ever seen before here in Fargone Racing. It is a shootout, and it is reverse championship order in which the shootout is taking place. So much like your Bathurst 1000 top 10 shootout, except it's for the whole entire grid. So we can see as Ben Carden gets out onto the racetrack, the 510 car, who would be the next current championship order, is now on his outlap. So very, very, very similar to the supercars format, 510 car being Jason Lee. So currently Ben making his way around the circuit here, and we are here for Silverstone if it wasn't already apparent to the viewers watching at home. And yeah, it is going to be a good show here tonight. I think that the shootout qualifying will get a little bit more exciting as we move forward to the faster and faster lap times. But even seeing these lower spots as it just develops to what we're going to see is going to be really interesting. So as he makes his way through Abbey, he's had a couple of mistakes here on this qualifying lap, and that's the beauty of a shootout as well. It puts pressure on these drivers. You have to perform in one lap. You have to make sure that your tyres are in the closest you possibly can get to the window, which is very hard to do in one lap, especially at Silverstone. The track isn't cold, so it should be a little bit easier, being 29 degrees track, but it's still not super hot, so the tyres aren't just trying to heat up straight away, so pressures won't be in the optimal window, I would likely say. And yeah, it is just going to be a little bit of an interesting qualifying format here, I think. Ben Carden at the moment making his way now out of Luffield. And this would be the first qualifying lap in the book. So what has Ben managed here for himself as he's making his way towards the line now? And now across the line, a 2-minute 5.030 as now Jason Lee gears up for his qualifying lap here at the Silverstone circuit. As funnily enough, I commentated a Silverstone League race on ACC last Thursday, so this is going to be my second time. And it's, I believe, almost the same race distance, just different qualifying format. So I'm very familiar with what we're about to tackle here as Lee makes his way now into Cop's Corner, which is turn 1 here in GT Racing. And now making his way towards Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Potentially a little bit conservative from Jason, but that's what to be expected, especially lower down here. With the reverse championship order, it's just the nature of it. The times will ramp up and get quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker as the drivers get faster and faster and faster and faster. So, yeah, it's good to hear, and I know that Steve is behind the scenes coordinating this all, obviously, as per usual, for GT Challenge, but this time more than ever, because with the shootout, he's got to have the championship order up. He's got to be calling people's names, making sure they're out, and making sure we're all going. Thanks, Tash. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's really kind. And, yeah, I hope that nothing goes and disrupts that. But, yeah, it should be a full season, which is really, really exciting. And not just for, hopefully, the viewers, for me as well. I've been chomping at the bit, trying to work out solutions as to how I can broadcast Fargone again. And I finally fixed the scheduling conflict with a convenient thing that happened with the scheduling of the other thing I was doing. And yeah, it all came together really well, and I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with the result, as Lee's still making his way around the laps. Been fairly neat and tidy so far. Broads is the next one out on the track in the Ferrari. So the Aston driver getting close to the end of his lap, and you can also see the other car in the background, the Ferrari. I think you might actually be able to see him come onto the straight there. Yes, you can. So that's how close together this shootout is. It's very... one driver starts their lap, you get out straight away. You have to be prepared as a driver. Your name gets called, you've got to be waiting and ready to go. So, Jason Lee, a 205.0 to beat for himself. What can he muster up here in the Aston Martin? Making his way out of the final corner and now into the flat-out woodcut and making his way towards the line. All he has to do is beat a 5.0. Can he do it? No, in fact, he's 8 seconds off that. So really not ideal there for Lee. I thought he made a few mistakes, but I didn't realize he was that far off, as Broads is now starting a flying lap here of Silverstone. This driver looking a little bit more committed through this opening sector. I expect him to be closer to Carden, if not ahead of Carden, especially as it's reverse championship order, and I've seen Broads have some fairly solid performances in previous seasons here of GT Challenge. And they are still getting around. Who's going to be the next car out? Let's take a look to the track map on the right-hand side. It's the 47 car. Toba Sire will be the car after Broads, so we'll be looking at the big Nissan GTR. As, hello, Ron. Welcome into the chat. It's good to have you here. And hopefully you can enjoy this night of racing. So, for those of you just joining along, like Ron, it is a shootout format for qualifying, followed by a 70-minute race. So it won't be right into the action. It'll be fairly slow pace to start with, but shootout formats are really intriguing. We see it in supercars quite often, and now we're seeing it here in Fargone Racing. So I think it's a really cool format. I really actually enjoy this. I think it's quite, well, I was going to say creative, but I guess it's been done before. But I think it's new. I don't think for Fargone, I don't think I've ever seen anybody really even do it on ACC or anything that isn't really in a set of course of V8 Supercars League, in which you don't see it that much either. So, yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. And, yeah, I really like it. So, Broads making his way through Aintree and now onto the Wellington Straight. So, the V6 in the Ferrari. Well, it's not really roaring. It's only got 6 cylinders. But it's creating the loudest noise that it can here down the straight. He's making his way now through Brooklands and towards Luffield, as we'll have a bit of a wait before the next lap because Tobasai was a little bit slower out of the gate. But here comes Broads out of the final corner. A 205.0 to beat. It looked a little bit more neat and tidy than a 205.0. So what is he going to set here as he's about to cross the line? 201.3. That is more like it here in the reverse championship order. That is a very solid lap. 3.7 seconds clear of Ben Carden. And welcome into the chat, V8 Super Geek. Absolutely delighted to have you, as now Toba Sire gears up for his flying lap in this shootout. The car who will be going after him, we'll find out in a moment, because honestly, I don't have the championship up next to me. A bit of a blunder on my part. But Toba Sire now making his way towards turn 1. The Nissan GTR probably not super graceful to take around any circuit, let alone a high-speed circuit. But I've also seen Mr. Lucas Keys take this thing from almost last on the grid to P2, I think it was, in OR last week. So anything is possible here in the Nissan GTR. And Toba Sire giving it a good go at the moment. As, hey, Maddie in a Ford. Now she has my full support. Well, Maddie's returning to that Ford. So Maddie's car has always, at least since I've been commentating Fargone, been the Ford. Then she took a swap because she copped a bit of crap, potentially from myself, for being in the OP car. But now they figured out a solution and she's back in the Mustang. So the Ford has a restrictor plate on it. I'm not sure how it all works inside ACC, but I've been told there's two values that work for the restrictor, 19% and 20% restrictor. It's a bit deceiving because I'm going to explain that now. So the 20% restrictor, as you'd expect, 20% restrictor, yada yada, makes the car not OP. It brings it in line with the other cars that are the quickest in the game. So instead of it being super crazy, it's just in line. So it's raceable. But then 19% is half of the effect of 20%, from what I've been told. Take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if I've got my my understanding wrapped around it. So like you have the 20% restrictor, then 19% has half the effect of the 20% restrictor, which here at Silverstone, it has a 19% restrictor to bring it in line with the rest of the cars, barring instead of the 20. So that's something I'm going to have to keep brushed up on over the course of this season, what restrictor it has on it. But Toba Sire making his way now out of the final corner here in the Nissan GTR. And now up towards the line through Woodcote. Hold it tight to the right-hand side. The next car starting like behind him is car 5. So Toba Sire, a 2-minute flat .4. MJ will now be next to start a lap. And I thought I could hear it. Here. And it is. It's the screaming V10 of a Lamborghini. I absolutely love the sound of this engine. Not quite as good as the Aston V12 hypercar that we see in WEC nowadays and IMSA, but definitely it's a very, very close second. I love the sound of this V10. It's Tash saying, I vaguely remember a Bathurst GT3 12-hour event having a one-shot quality, and Maddie was panicking and will be panicking now. Yeah, I know which 12-hour event you're talking about. That's the 12-hour event I joined Sensational TV for. That was my first time ever commentating with the Sensational boys, and they happened to like me, and they picked me up, and I commentated Brands Hatch V8 Supercars with them later that night. Yeah, I wasn't there for the shootout call. That was Chris Munro and Zach O'Reilly, the other two brains behind Sensational TV, the main two brains behind Sensational TV. And yeah, that was a good event. They had a shootout for that big, long 12-hour event. But yeah, there's not too many events that use the shootout format. As you also might be wondering why some of these, well, why basically none of these cars have liveries. And that is because, well, I'm an idiot. And I'm very disorganized, despite the fact that I had a week to prepare and download the liveries. I got everything together in the last 5 minutes, including the logos that you see on your screen. I didn't have the new GT Challenge and Fargone Racing logos until 9 o'clock on the dot, which is why I didn't have the starting soon up sooner. Because as you can tell, I'm a professional. And yeah, so I haven't downloaded the liveries. They will be there next week, I promise. I do promise they will be there next week. But I forgot to download them. So I do apologize. But MJ now making his way out of the final corner. So it's a 2-minute flat .4 to beat. And the times continue to ramp up. So what can the roaring Lamborghini do? MJ across the line, a 2-minute .3. So quicker again, as now we look to Dave Ross in the Mercedes GT3. So the times continuing to get quicker and quicker and quicker. 300ths currently separates the battle for pole, as we see the 5 on provisional pole return to the pit lane. Dave Ross ahead of these drivers in the championship. And now he's going to give it a good go as he's gone off the track and invalidated. So that is a very early end to this attempt of a qualifying session for Ross. So he's going to have to make up for that one in the race. He completely missed turn 1. Who will be the next car to go on an out lap? I wonder. We will see. Yeah, Ron, I agree. Maddie is a very cool driver. I like Maddie. She's very fast. She likes to get her elbows out. She has a very cool Zoomies livery, which I've always enjoyed. So yeah, Maddie is a cool driver. But yeah, really bad luck there for Dave Ross, as the next car out on the track is a McLaren. If I'm not mistaken, that is Tim Bradley. It is Tim Bradley out on the circuit. So now we have our first McLaren. It's actually, so far, we've had a good split. We've had 5 different manufacturers in 5 qualifying laps, and it would have been 6 and 6 if Ross had set his lap, and now we see the McLaren. So we've had a Lamborghini go so far, then a Nissan, then a Ferrari, then a Ford, then an Aston, then an invalidated Mercedes, and now a McLaren. We do have some double ups nonetheless, though. There are quite a lot of Fords on this grid. There's 5 by my count, but I've just counted that very quickly, so could be wrong. We have 2 Mercedes, which is really unusual, but Eden it giving it a go this season, which I respect because I like the Mercedes. And 2 Lexuses, really brave there, and I never thought I'd see the day, but Hoggy has changed cars. Don't panic, everyone, the world isn't ending, but he's not in the Ferrari. It's a strange sight to behold, seeing Hoggy not in the Ferrari, but yeah, he's not, so it's good to see everybody branching out. But yeah, we have Parker and Hoggy in the Lexus, which is actually which is quite cool. I like the Lexus, and it has a big roaring V8, so it gets even better. Oh, the police have sent me a text about a missing person. Well, have I seen this guy? Hold on, guys. We're doing a quick check. No, I haven't seen that guy. Okay. Back to the racing. Yeah, so Tim Bradley getting ready to start a lap here in qualifying in his McLaren. As, do you need to be a Matty hater to bring balance to the universe? No, Matty doesn't deserve the slack. I think Matty is nice, so I don't think Matty deserves the hate, Tash. As Tim making his way through the lap as, oh, the puppy's jumping on my leg. We're going to pick it up. Hi, Boo. How are you? You enjoying the qualifying? You enjoying the racing? I'd hope so. I think everybody is at the moment. But yeah, Tim definitely going quicker than we've seen anybody go so far. The 780 car will be the next car after him in Grundor. He's making his way out on his outlap. He's heading through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. there's Tash coming in with the hate. But I explained this. The Ford has a restrictor plate, so it's not OP. It might be still, but I'm not sure. I don't think it is. From what I've been told, it's actually fairly good. So Tim, yeah, he's really wringing the neck out of this car at the moment. This is probably going to be a provisional pole by quite a long shot. Tim had a couple of impressive results last season. I know I wasn't commentating, but I did check every now and again how everybody was going. And yeah, Tim making his way around the circuit, looking a lot more in touch with the limit than some of the other drivers. MJ also had a very solid lap. Tobesire as well, considering he's in the Nissan. Was a very impressive effort. But now Tim Bradley heading onto the Wellington Straight and towards Brooklands and Luffield. The 780 car following behind him as well, getting ready to start his lap. So he's not used all the track on entry there, but other than that, it's been a fairly solid qualifying lap here for Tim Bradley as he now makes his way out of the final corner. G'day, Steve-O. You're getting a bit bored waiting in the pit lane, are we? And now Tim making his way towards the line in the 78 McLaren. Is it going to be provisional pole? Yes, it is by 0.3 of a second. Thank the Lord I was right about that one because I was glazing his lap pretty hard. And he goes on to provisional pole to save my sanity. So now we look to one of many Ford Mustangs on the grid, the second one to set a qualifying lap. So far, Grundor making his way around into a flying lap. So a 2-minute flat is currently the time to beat. What does he have in store as he makes his way into Cops? A little bit more conservative there from the Ford Mustang, maybe taking a different approach to a shootout qualifying session here, and he's making his way around the circuit through Maggots, Beckett's, and then heading in towards Chapel. Looked a right speed carried through there, but not the fastest we've seen. But the Mustang is a bit of a tugboat as he now makes his way onto the straight where that big American V8 can let itself open up and roar down the straight. Listen to that thing. That is a fantastic noise. Not the best one on the grid. I think the Lexus and the Lambo have that covered, but still a very nice sounding vehicle. As now he makes his way into the Vale chicane. Just get it tipped left, get it tipped right. Police want to know where you are, by the way. Too many drunk driving. Oh, we love to hear it. We love the banter, Tash. You're amazing. I mean, to be fair, the text from the police did say it was a 63-year-old. So that's around Steve-O's age point. No, sorry, Steve-O's 63,000. Not 63, 63,000. Sorry, I got my information mixed up. Can't be you, Steve-O. It's too young. That's foul. That's too mean. I'm going to get fired. As Grundor's making his way... Oh, no. Poor Steve-O. Grundor making his way out of the final corner. The next car to start a flying light will be Swooper, who's in the Ford this season. So Grundor making his way up towards the line. What is he going to manage here? It is P5 for the Ford. 4.3 seconds off of provisional pole at the moment. Now Swooper is beginning a lap here in another Ford Mustang. Would you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? And Steve-O saying lame. I don't know. I feel like it was a pretty good one. A bit harsh, potentially. Am I going to get fired? Also, potentially. Was it worth the comedic value? Probably. I think so. As, poor Steve-O. Oh, the dog's getting impatient on my lap. Okay, I can put you down, but you're going to be missing out. It's good racing here at Fargone. They don't pay you. They don't pay you enough to hold back, Lindsay, whatever it is. Who said I got paid anything? Maybe I got a gun to my head, Tash. Maybe I was forced to be here. No, I really enjoy it here, but Swooper looking to do the Mustangs proud, as both of the Mustangs who have set a lap so far in this shootout are 4.4 and 4.9 seconds off provisional pole, respectively. Swooper looking a little bit quicker than that at the moment. He's doing quite well for himself here in the Ford Mustang as he's now making his way towards Abbey, which is the F1 turn 1. You need a lot of commitment there to get it right. It's all over the grass there on the left-hand side, making his way through Farm Curve, and then now through the slow right-hander and into the loop now, getting ready to prepare the exit in through Aintree into the Wellington Straight. So get it tipped through, use all the track on the exit. It's a very nice run through that section of slow, twisty corners. The 55, which is, well, it used to be my favorite car, Lee Perkins, is out on the circuit, but no sensational livery this season. He's got a yellow flag in his qualifying outlap. Potentially not ideal. Maybe he's trying to get tire temp. Who knows what's going on for Lee Perkins, but now Swooper making his way out of the final corner. Can he pip the two Fords? Can he pip provisional pole here as he makes his way through Woodcote and across the line? What's he going to do? P5, 2.5 seconds off provisional pole, though. So not too bad for Swooper. Now, Lee Perkins in the BMW still. He's not in the beautiful, sensational livery. You've got to have a chat, Lee, because we're going to need that fixed up. No, Steve-O put a lot of... Well, at least I assume Steve-O made the new livery. I have seen it. But Lee Perkins, anyway, making his way through Cops Corner, and he did quite well for himself a few times last season, and I believe the season before that as well, so definitely looking to keep his standards up. I'm counting the 0 times 2 being... I'm counting on 0 times 2 being $0 in that offer. Ash, has anybody ever told you you're the funniest? Because I think you're the funniest person in chat most of the time. Lee making his way through Stoke Corner now and towards Vale. The next car out on an outlap is Eda Nick, who's in the Mercedes and not the BMW or Ford this season. So another change, but still a front engine car that's a bit of a brick. So he has a theme for the cars he likes. What's next? The Aston Martin. I would actually like to see Eda Nick in an Aston Martin. Was he in the Aston last season or was he in the Ford? No, I think he's in the Ford. I'm losing my train of thought. Anyway, Lee Perkins making his way around the circuit quite comfortably at the moment, might I add. His sector splits not looking too bad from what I can see so far. Ouch. Most of the time I'm the only one in chat. I said most of the time, meaning even when there are other people in chat, you're still usually the funniest. But occasionally, Zach will come into the chat with a stinger. That's quite funny. That or he'll be bullying me. Either way, whatever works. But anyway, Lee Perkins finishing his lap now. And he goes P1. There we go. That's very fast there from Lee Perkins. I said he had a few impressive performances last season. I'm not sure he went round 1 this season, but that was a very, very solid qualifying lap there from Lee Perkins. Nearly 9/10 clear of Tim Bradley. Lee Perkins takes provisional pole with a 1 minute 59.182. What does Eda Nick have in response? Another driver that's very well seasoned here in GT Challenge. He's going to be looking to knock Lee Perkins off that provisional pole position here. There's still a lot of drivers left to get laps in, though, which has me quite concerned. There's 18 minutes left in the qualifying session. 9 drivers have set laps, so have we set the session time long enough, Steve-O? I'm not sure. We'll find out. Steve-O will probably be like, yeah, we're fine. Azar Gray, mate, you put on a legendary defensive effort in Wednesday Cup last week. Yeah, that was a really good effort from you last week in Wednesday Cup, Gray. Big praise to you for that. Welcome into the chat. So we're just doing a shootout qualifying. Steve-O saying plenty? Okay, cool. It's just because we've covered more than half the session and then we have a similar amount of drivers to go. I don't know. It just depends on drivers' outlets. We should get it done, though, by the looks of it, actually. Yeah, I think I'm being a bit ridiculous. We should be fine. Because, oh, yeah, Dave doesn't have to settle up. Yeah, we're fine. Okay. Eda Nick in the Mercedes making his way through the F1 turn 1 and then now through Farm Curve and then stomping on the brakes to get the car slowed up as tried, says Gray. Yeah, I mean, you did more than try for quite a while there. You were holding them up for a good few laps, and then it just all fell apart. All it takes is one domino to fall with you getting overtaken once, and you were going to get swamped. It's just always the way it's going to go. Yeah, you did pretty well for yourself. As now Eda Nick making his way towards Brooklands and Luffield. So, a 59.1 will be the time he is trying to beat, and now he's making his way through Luffield, and then he's got to just square it off, V it off, get the exit nice and tidy, and then now up towards the line. What is he going to set? Can he dismount Lee Perkins off of provisional pole position? No, he can't, but he was so close. Really impressive stuff there from Eda Nick. You rigged that up so it's improved. Yeah, well, that's good to hear, Gray. Yeah, you're looking quite good out there. And how comfortable are you looking into Willow Springs? Because I'll be at work, but I will watch it back. As Speed Racer, now on a lap in the Ford Mustang, car 46, also a new car here for Speed Racer this season, I believe. I don't have the livery, that's kind of how I'm judging it. As welcome into the chat, Limbs. It's good to have you. As Speed Racer making his way out of Chapel 216, Parker being the car who will be next out on the track behind him in a Lexus. So the first Lexus, and we will definitely be going on the onboard for the Lexus because that thing sounds absolutely, undebatably incredible. But Racer 15 minutes to go here in this shootout. A lot of drivers yet to set laps. We should have the time to get it done. Yeah, the Mustang does look mean. And Gray, just for a bit of context, there is no livery on it. That's because I didn't download the liveries, not because people don't have liveries. I'm a great host, as you can tell. Super organized, super aware. Yeah, no flaws at all. But Speed Racer, a 59.1, he has to look forward to beat, and Eda Nick, a 10th behind that. Currently the highest Ford, and he is the last, no, not the last Ford, Maddie will be the last Ford to go out on a lap, but he is the second last Ford. Everybody else in the Fords at the moment sits 5 seconds or more off of pole. Your English has improved? Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get my words out during Wednesday Cup. I'd be on a good roll, and then I would just lose it. Speed Racer now across the line. P1 by 0.3 of a second. Wow. I did not expect that, if I'm completely honest. The lap looked good, but I didn't know if it looked 58.8 good. But it was a 58.8. Fantastic stuff from Speed Racer to take provisional pole position. Now James Parker in the Lexus is on a lap. Let's get a listen to this thing. Listen to that. No, this lap is going to be full on board. No talking. That's a sound. That is a sound. I'm going to sit down and shut up now. I'm actually not sure how well that conveys through the stream's audio of how loud that car is, because I completely forgot to turn the audio up because I thought it was set loud enough. But anyway, Parker with a 58.8 to beat. Can he do it? Across the line, no. P4 for the Lexus now. The next car to start a lap is the number 1. Where is he? Where is he? There we go. It's the Bentley man himself. It's Steve Reese. So, he went from... He was in a McLaren in season 18. Then he went to the Ferrari, dominated. Can't remember what he was in last season. And now he's in the Bentley. So, I know he's driven this car several times before. I've seen him do it in a little league called ARD when he raced that a few times. Mainly at Misano, I saw him in the Bentley. And I know he doesn't mind this thing. And in fact, I don't mind this thing, but I also know he's struggling with it here around Silverstone. So let's see what he can muster up. This is the first really, really, really quick championship contending driver to be out on the circuit in this shootout. So this is a critical moment here for this shootout. This is where we really get to see what should be getting set. A 58.8 from Speed Racer, though. Highly impressive. Definitely didn't expect that out from him. As I think Hoggy in the 42 wasn't meant to be on his lap yet. I think he's meant to be his Porsche last season. Yeah, I'm reminded now because he was complaining about it being death. I think that the Lexus is meant to be behind him, not in front of him, unless I've gotten their order of operations mixed up. I don't know. But I think I saw the number 1 car come out first. Maybe it's just a hurry along the qualifying a bit because we are actually cutting it quite close here. But yeah, Steve-O's going to be a good yardstick here if he does topple Speed Racer, which I imagine he would. Steve-O obviously has won quite a few championships here in Fargone Racing GT Challenge. I think that Matty beat him in 18, but he won 19 and 20, if I'm not mistaken, and didn't win last season. And then this season, oh, there we go, a 57.9. Was it ever in doubt? That is an absolute flyer from Steve-O, as now we look to Hoggy. But yeah, he is struggling with the Bentley a little bit, but definitely not too much because 57.9 is absolutely rapid there, set by the number 1 car. As yeah, actually, he did win the championship last season. He's got number 1 on his car. What am I thinking? And then this season, who knows what holds for him. But being reverse championship order and still having quite a few cars yet to set laps, I'm not sure. But we'll see as this season continues on. It's only been 1 race, so that's not super representative, but it's just the way that the shootout order has been set. But yeah, Hoggy making his way now into the Vale chicane. He's in the second of the 2 Lexuses that are on this grid tonight. Is the Bentley quicker than the nerfed Mustang? No. Well, I'm not sure. I had mixed reviews, would you believe it, between Matty and Steve-O. Steve-O said it still pulled away from the Bentley a little bit, but not much, down the straight. And Matty said they were dead even and literally side by side with each other perfectly. So who knows? What I do know, though, is that this Lexus of Hoggy is drifting around this circuit like a madman. But it is very, very quick in a straight line. I do believe it's the quickest GT3 in a straight line on the game that's viable to use. I'm not sure about like the V12 Aston or the Jag or anything. I'm pretty sure that this car is very strong in a straight line. But it's just a tugboat, so you don't have to put a restrictor on it. But Hoggy now making his way out of the final corner. It's been a very slippy and slidey lap here in the Lexus, and now he's going to make his way up towards the line now. And what is he going to muster up here? Across the line, P4, 1.4 seconds off of Steve-O. The next car to set a lap won't be the 31. It'll be Griffin in a Bentley as well. So, a second Bentley to be out on the circuit in this shootout, and the second of only 2 Bentleys. So this is the final Bentley. The current one holds provisional pole. What can Griffin do about it? Can they set a faster lap? Let's see as they make their way through turn 1 in that Jack Daniels liveried Bentley. They are still giving it a go, and that looked very committed there through turn 1, as Tash saying. So Lex cooks them both on the straight. Should make for interesting battles. That depends on where they are battle-wise. But yeah, Hoggy being where he is at the moment, it should be interesting. And also the Merc is pretty quick in a straight line. So you can't discredit that one either for when it comes to battling. But yeah, Griffin giving it a push here in the Bentley. Henderson had to go out a little bit earlier. Either they missed their spot in the reverse championship order, because I do believe they only just got added to the leaderboard, so they would have joined a bit late, or they're just on a bit of a time crunch here with 6.5 minutes remaining, and they need to get these last laps in. So they're leaving a little bit earlier. But Griffin looking very hooked up at the moment around this lap of Silverstone. And it's looking quite quick. It'll probably be inside the top 5 if I had to make a prediction. But that's only from the first sector of the lap, and they're currently making their way through the second sector of this circuit. So they headed through Farm Curve, whacked the brakes on, and then set up the loop here. A very critical corner. You can make or break your lap here at that corner. Very slow speed left-hander, and then you shoot it out into Aintree. As Henderson has also begun their lap. We'll take a look in a moment once Griffin has crossed the line. So now into the final 2 corners of the circuit, Brooklands and Luffield. We're not counting Woodcote because it is a corner. I will call it by the corner name, but it is a completely flat-out kink, so I don't really count it. So they're out of the final proper corner of the circuit. Griffin, that looked a very committed and hooked up lap as they head towards the line. Now I'm expecting a top 5. Will it be inside the top 5 here for Griffin? P2 2000s off of Steve-O. I thought it was committed. I didn't know it was that fast. Wowee. A 57.932. So the Bentleys are definitely equal. Very impressive stuff there from the two Bentley drivers, currently holding a front row lockout, but you've still got drivers like Maddie and Longy to be next up. As Henderson making his way around the slow, squirrely sector here in car 31 in the best looking car on the grid, the Aston Martin. I'm not sure about livery-wise, but I know car-wise, car model-wise, it's the best-looking car. As, hello, Christopher Munro. Welcome to the Fargone broadcast. It's a bit of a long shootout, so definitely not the highest of hype situations, but we are reaching the final two drivers of this qualifying session in a moment, so it'll get loud in a moment. So, car 4, the one, the only, the Mustang Maddie, making her way out onto the circuit. So where is Henderson going to put himself with 4 minutes to go in this session? P3 for the Aston Martin. So that is absolutely fantastic stuff to put himself on the second row at the moment. But now it's to look to Maddie, who's on a lap in the Ford Mustang. Let's go on board here with the V8 Mustang. Where is the cockpit camera? So it does have a restrictor on it. So that is something to keep. No, I'm not sure. I don't think she's on a push. No, she is on a push lap, I think. It's hard to tell, actually. I didn't see her on the track map. But she is making her way around this circuit at the moment. I'm sick at the moment, otherwise I would have jumped in next week. Perhaps, maybe Chris. I mean, I'm fine. I'm happy to be here calling the Fargone action. As you're more than aware, I very much pushed for it. Even getting the time of a different league moved around just so I can do it again. I've lost the broadcast on my phone, so I can't look at chat. There we go, but yeah, get well soon, Chris. As Maddie making her way now through the loop, 2 and a bit minutes to go in this qualifying session. Only one more driver to set a lap, and that being Longy in the Ferrari. So Maddie, I don't know. I don't think she set a lap, actually, because yeah, Longy's just going out for his final run now, so I think Maddie will be on a flying lap in a moment. So we'll get the telemetry up just in case. We'll find out in a moment if this is a flying lap. It didn't look like a flying lap. It looked fast, but not push lap. Yeah, it was the out lap, I believe. Yeah, well, so here we go for a lap of the Silverstone circuit. Here with Maddie, third gear into Copse Corner. This is push time now for Maddie. Steve-O has 2,000 over provisional pole position. And now she's going to try and dethrone him. As per usual, Maddie versus Steve-O being the common theme. Longy is the championship leader, though. He is currently on an out lap. So second gear, the long gear ratios of the Mustang coming into play as now the restricted V8 engine will roar its applause down the straight, heading towards Stowe Corner. So this is where you just got to gear up, spot your braking point. It's a blind crest, braking just before the start of the curb. Second gear in the Mustang, tip it through, get it onto the inside curb, power out as early as you dare, get it to the exit curb. You can use all the curb here in GT cars. Is now into the Vale chicane. Don't hit the sausage curb. That is your main target, and don't brake too early. Maddie's done neither of those things. She's absolutely nailed it. So now through Club Corner, just about flat out when you hook it up. Maddie looked more than comfortably flat out, and now towards the F1 turn 1. Abbey, as it's called. So getting prepared to commit to the corner. A 20% dub on the brakes there for Maddie, and then complete commitment now flat out through Farm Curve. And then on the brakes into the hairpin, and then to set up the loop, you've got to open up the corner just a bit more, and then dive it in towards the apex. Get it in, and then power out the TC, hopefully not activating too much, and then through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. These are critical corners around the lap here at Silverstone, and she's giving it a red-hot go, and she could very well be on for provisional pole position here. So into Brooklands and Luffield. A 57.930 is the time on the mind here for Maddie. That's the time she has to beat to topple Steve-O, and then hope it's enough to hold off Longy if she does get it hooked up. So now, out of the final corner, towards the line now. Will it be provisional pole position here for Maddie with only one car to go to topple her? No, it won't. It's P3 for the Ford. Oh my God, the Ford driver, Matty, crossing the line P3. I've forgotten how to speak English again. As Longy in the Ferrari, there we go, that's the right manufacturer, is now going to be the last driver to try and take pole position off of Steve-O. The checkered flag has fallen. It comes down to him. It comes to Longy at 57.930 is the time to beat. 2,000ths between the two Bentleys in 1 and 2 at the moment. Matty, another 300ths back from that. It's absolutely nail-biting stuff. Can Longy disrupt the party as he makes his way now through the second sector of the lap here at Silverstone? It's been a long 45-minute shootout. Every single driver has completed a full lap of this circuit except Dave Ross, who invalidated at turn 1. And now it's Longy's turn. It's the final turn. The reverse championship order shootout, making it really, really exciting, keeping us on the edge of our seats till the final moments, and that is what it's all made of here in Fargone Racing. Tense moments, nail-biting action, and close qualifying gaps. By the looks of it at the moment, it's looking like Longy is on a really strong qualifying lap, but is it enough to topple Steve-O and Griffin, who's absolutely flying, as well as Matty, who's just there? Can he at least put himself on the second row? Can the championship leader solidify himself on pole position? We'll find out now. He rounds the final corner, use all of the exit curb, and now up towards the line. Will it topple Steve-O, or will it be a Steve-O pole position like usual proceedings? Longy goes P4 and bumps off Hendo in P5 onto the third row of the grid. Absolutely fantastic stuff in this qualifying session, but by 2,000ths of a second, it's the usual man. It's Steve-O on pole position here in Fargone Racing as we head towards the 70-minute race. He takes it by 2,000ths with a 57.930 from Griffin. Then Matty and Longy make up your second row. Then Henderson, Racer, Perkins, Hoggy, Eda Nick, Parker, Bradley, MJ rounds out your top 12. Then Tobisaya, Broad, Swooper, Grundor, Ben Carden, Lee, and Ross makes up your final qualifying order. But what an absolute cracker that was here, as we have a 70-minute race ahead of us. So qualifying, not the most important thing, but it is the most important thing when you set a lap time like that. 2,000ths next to the next driver. A Bentley front row lockout, might I add. Not something I thought I would be saying here in Fargone Racing, but that is absolutely fantastic. And unlike the slipstream round, my free camera wants to work. Would you believe it? So, as much as I don't have any of the deliveries because I'm so organized, Chris, don't kill me, we will run through the grid. So, Steve-O in the number 1 car sets your pole lap from Griffin in that beautiful Jack Daniels liveried Bentley, a Bentley front row lockout. I can't get over that one. Then Matty in a beautiful Zoomies Mustang, as per usual, in P3 with the restricted engine. Then Longy goes P4. So that's your second row. And then making your way now down to the third row, you have Henderson and Speed Racer, your cars in P5 and P6. And then you head past Lee Perkins, who isn't hosting a Sensational TV livery anymore. How sad is that? As now we have Hoggy in the Lexus, one of 2 Lexus on the grid. Then you have one of the 2 Mercedes of Eda Nick. And then you have the second Lexus of Parker rounding out your top 10. Then you have a car that does have a livery on the grid, Tim Bradley in the McLaren. Then you have the roaring E10 Lamborghini, the car beside him in P12. And then you have a big Nissan GTR. What's that? It's taking up the whole camera shot. I would never believe you. Absolutely huge car, that one. As then it's Broads in P14 behind. And then you have Swooper with a nicely liveried Ford Mustang. Then you have another Ford Mustang of Grundor, and then another Mustang in Carden. So all the Mustangs except Matty and Racer all together. Then you have the beautiful Aston Martin of Lee, and then Ross, who invalidated his qualifying lap. So that is your run through of the grid, and then now we're heading towards what is a very fast formation lap here. So it's a lot less than a sector here at Silverstone, the formation lap. It is literally a moment, but it's just the race starts very late, basically, as you head into turn 1, so it does delay quite a while. So Steve-O and Griffin making up the front row in the Bentleys from Maddie and Longy in the Ford and Ferrari is your front two, as now they'll be ready to go racing for the second time this season in Fargone Racing GT Challenge. The green flags are ready to fly. The green lights are ready to illuminate, as now it's Steve-O's turn to spot the green light and take us away from pole position for the race to get underway. So as they make their way towards turn 1, the green lights are illuminated and we're underway for racing action. Steve-O already claiming the lead into turn 1. Griffin slots into P2, but Steve-O's a little bit wide there. Griffin trying to get alongside Matty, holds on to P3 from Longy in P4. So they slot in. Steve-O still single file. Griffin slotting into P2. Further down the back, there's a couple of side-by-side moments by the looks of it. Lee Perkins is side-by-side with Hoggy as they head through Chapel and now onto the straight for the first time. As oh, that's an incident up the back. Who is that? That wasn't Bradley. In fact, it was the Nissan. It was the only Nissan on the grid, that being Toba Sire, who was off the track, as well as in the background. There's even more squabbling going on. Meanwhile, up the front, it's so close together as they head into Stoke Corner. Griffin trying to get a nose up the inside. Racer nearly side by side with Henderson there through Stoke Corner, as well as Hoggy, who's now on the outside line. The two Lexuses are going at it. Parker on the inside, Hoggy on the outside as they make their way through the Vale chicane, and they're still side by side as they head now through Club Corner. Surely there's not contact between the Lexuses here, and they slot back in out of the final corner. Hoggy gets the place. Fantastic stuff from the Lexus drivers, as well as Tim Bradley in a little bit of a scuffle further down, and the Mustangs are going at it as now. That is Dave Ross up the inside at turn 1, getting it done on Swooper, that was. So he's carving his way through this little Mustang pack that we have going on at the moment, as now we'll go back to the regular TV camera proceedings and watch this race unfold. So Griffin staying with Steve-O at the moment. Griffin, if I'm not mistaken, last season had a very strong qualifying performance, but Steve-O was able to pull away in the race. Not sure that's going to be the case this time. I think Griffin very under control of his Bentley. Steve-O, despite getting pole, definitely has his reservations about this car. And Maddie in P3 in a restricted Mustang, still no slouch in a straight line. She will be trying to make moves, but also she's got to keep one eye forward and one eye in the rear view mirrors, with the Ferrari of Longy attacking behind us. That's the 48 car of Dave Ross, who I just complimented for carving his way through the field. Now he finds himself down and out in this race. So let's see if we can get a replay, if I can find him on the towers. Oh, that Swooper is off as well. So let's go here. Dave Ross looking for a move on Toba Sire. He goes up the inside of Brooklands. There's no contact there. Oh, he just spins on his own. Oh, that's really not normal. That's a really unfortunate accident there for Dave Ross. And that is definitely not the way to start a 70-minute race off. But you have the time to recover at least, being an endurance round. It's not a super enduro. It's not 90 minutes. And then Super was off there as well. I imagine he just spun at the final corner. The Mustang not giving him much of an option, as the pit window is open. So mandatory stop here, which was unbeknownst to me. I was not aware of that, honestly, as I showed up about 5 minutes beforehand because I'm so organised. I did plan up actually to show up quite a bit before that, but I was troubleshooting something on my computer. So bear with me. That, and also I didn't forget about Fargone, but I forgot about downloading deliveries. I was for some reason in that mindset of I've got everything set up already, so I can show up pretty last second. But I forgot it's a new season. And now Parker's up the inside, still just trying to hold off from Ida. Nick, who's trying to attack behind Ida, obviously changing cars from the Ford last season, if I'm not mistaken. He's now in the German piece of machinery. So he's swapped from the Allies to the enemies, you could say, as he's gone from American to German. But that was quite a while ago, so he's just switching sides like it doesn't even matter. Would you believe it? Maybe Mercedes offered him more contract money to drive for their manufacturer. But now Parker is looking all through the rear view mirrors. You mean, come on, Lindsay, get with the program. I'm right here. As the Mercedes trying the outside now. Eden Nick just not able to get alongside. Oh, wait, no, I get what you mean. Chat's delayed. That conversation happened about 30 seconds ago. But, yeah, no, I was off the mark. It's fine. We'll have all the liveries and everything next week, I promise. If not, Chris can fire me. I don't know. But Eden Nick still on the charge. He's just filling the rearview mirrors at the moment. As we'll take actually a look up the front here as the two Bentleys staying together really, really closely as well. Just the whole top four very close together. I haven't seen this too many times in Fargone before. We've had a few battle packs, but normally with Steve-O getting pole, he books it up the road. But here, it's looking to be a very close battle. Griffin has a lot of pace, and so does Matty, as long as he's dropping off the back a little bit, but still staying with it here. I know it's a long race ahead of us, and strategies can be different and whatnot as well. But, was in line for a pay rise, not so sure. What do you mean pay rise, Chris? You mean 0 times 2 equals 0, so you're going to double my pay? It was still going to equal 0? That's what Tash said earlier, and honestly, she wasn't far off in the spot in the pay department. It's fine. Coles pays me. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Coles pays me about 0 as well, so it's fine. Yeah, this is really enticing stuff here up the front, though. Steve-O not running away with it. Yes, he's gapping a little bit, but yeah, he still has cars within slipstream range, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Normally, Steve is the type of driver to disappear up the road. At the moment, not looking like he's having an easy time of doing that, as we'll look off the rear wing of the Carbon Bentley. Carbon for this round only, as he makes his way through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, as he looked like he had a little bit of a worse run there than Griffin, who got a great run heading onto the straight. But when you have equal machinery underneath you, the slipstream does a lot, but it doesn't do as much because you've still got the same engine underneath you, so it's a bit tricky. But Griffin is right there and showing the nose. They take different lines there, I've noticed. Griffin darts into the apex a little bit more aggressively, whether that's just to pressure Steve-O or is it his actual line, I'm not so sure, but I'm sure we'll see what the case is in that regard later into this race. Well, that's Henderson under putting the pressure on, to Speed Racer through the Vale chicane, as they still go at it here out of the final corner. And then now, not the final corner, this is an F1, Lindsay. Out of club corner and then towards the F1 turn 1. And then now through farm curve, just keep it committed. But Henderson just not close enough for a move, but he is showing the nose. He is making his presence felt here around Great Britain. And Racer not barging an inch. He had a very good qualifying session. As back up the front though, that gap is closer than it has been since the race start. Griffin very close behind Steve-O. Will he go up the inside? I'm sure he thought about it, but at a corner like Brooklands, it's really hard to pull off a move up the inside unless you're fully alongside heading into the corner. But Griffin is pushing Steve-O through here. So the battle for the lead well and truly on here between the two Bentleys. They 1-2 qualifying. They're looking likely to 1-2 the race. But can they go ahead and keep their noses clean here, locked into battle for the lead of this race, is the bigger question as they make their way through Copse Corner. Again, Griffin looks like he just has the upper hand in the high speed. It looks like the slow speed is where Steve-O is having a bit of a better time with things. So as they head through the S's now, it's all about exit speed. It's going to be focusing on defending here and focusing on attacking for Griffin. But both of them need to get off the corner well. And by the looks of it, Griffin has gotten off the corner exceptionally well as they make their way towards Stowe Corner. Is he going to be close enough? I'm not so sure about that. And Longy isn't close enough to Matty either. Those two have split into separate packs, or those four have split into separate packs. The two Bentleys, then the Ford and the Ferrari. So usually, where Steve-O would be booking it up the road, he now has a battle partner as Matty and Longy sit just a little bit further away off of that, battling each other as well. As Henderson still so close behind Speed Racer, but nothing coming at you in that battle either. So really interesting stuff here. Silverstone, quite tricky to overtake in these GTs. But you can make it work if you have the guts. But being a 70-minute race, we're only 10 minutes in, not even quite. It's just all about being patient, settling in, and yeah, with a mandatory stop, I believe, with that pit window. I'm not sure if it's tyres or fuel. If it is just fuel, then it'll be identical to the format that I commentated last week for OR. As Matty still under pressure here from Longy. As the Ferrari driver just looking very punchy, but not enough straight line speed, even with the Mustang having a restrictor plate on it. As the two Bentleys looking like they could be going at it anytime soon here, as we're going to go on board with the Bentley of Griffin as he is chasing down Reese at the moment, who holds the fastest lap of this race. But they are so close together. I'll tell you what, the last lap times within 500ths of a second of one another. So they are really giving each other a good push here, really making it tricky for one another as they head now into the S's for the 5th time in this race. You can see their lines very different. Griffin a little bit more aggressive over the curbs, punching into the corners. Steve-O a lot more cool, calm, collected. That's the experience, I think, kicking in here for Steve-O. He knows he has nothing to worry about. If he's the car in the lead, he can relax. Even if he is attacked, he can try and defend, and it's just about the long game. It's all about patience here. And I'll tell you what, if you've watched Happy Gilmore or Happy Gilmore 2, which released last weekend, you would know all about patience, because Adam Sandler has absolutely none of it. As Griffin still trying to attack Steve Reese, but some patience underneath him by the looks of it, but just a little bit more pushing than Steve-O, I think, to stay with him, and that is the Steve-O effect. He's chilling. He's running at a very fast pace, mind you, only a few tenths off of his pole lap, but he's not really driving the wheels off the car for it. As meanwhile, for P3, there is battling now. Longy had a good run off of Farm Curve and now has the inside line at the loop here on the inside of the Ford Mustang. He's inching ahead and he's going to get past, and Longy moves up into P3 at the sector split. Cracking stuff there, but now the Mustang is going to try and fight it back. Maddie isn't done just yet. The V8 stretching its legs in a straight line. Now she's looking up the inside of Brooklands. She gets back ahead again as they head into Luffield. Will Longy have a response? No, it doesn't look like it. He's going to open up the final corner, try and focus on the exit, but the power of the Mustang still too much, even with a restrictor plate underneath it. And that is absolutely fantastic racing here for the P3 position. Maddie holding onto the place. Longy, though, still trying to show the nose, still trying to get the elbows out and find a way through, but they're going to slot back in. Single file for the moment. He's going to have another chance to strike in a moment. But meanwhile, Griffin really close behind Stephen Reese. This is the closest we've seen him all race long so far, and he's opened up Chapel so well there. He has a really good run. He's only 3 tenths off the rear wing of his fellow Bentley, and now he's going to try and look for it. He's gaining and gaining and gaining, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. So now we'll move back to Maddie and Longy. They're still separated. The Mustang straight line speed proving too much here for Longy, but it's not done yet. We saw him make a move in what would be the F1 first sector, but is the middle sector here in the GT layout. Will he try and do it again? He does have the pace overall, I think, in the lap times, but he doesn't have the pace in a straight line, which is really hindering his efforts here as he makes his way out of Club Corner and then towards Abbey and Farm Curve. It's going to be critical to get a good run here. We saw him do it last lap, but also he got re-overtaken, so his run off the loop is going to have to be a bit better if he wants to get it done. And in fact, Matty's held on a lot better that time. Maybe he's deciding not to attack through the middle sector. Maybe he's going to attack a little bit later on. So here he is in the slipstream once again. He is quite close behind, but yeah, he just looks like he can't get it done in a straight line when push comes to shove. As Swooper has Tobasaya very close behind him. Will the Nissan go for a move? He is showing the nose, and he lunges it up the inside, but he can't pull ahead, and he slots back in behind. So some battling going on further down by the looks of it at the moment as well. Grundor has Carden close behind as well. So quite a few battles going on as that cone has been sent to the next stratosphere. That poor cone. Dave Ross, what did it ever do to you? He sends it flying into the next century, as it looks like Carden might be looking up the inside of Grundor here. No, he just took a very wide berth, trying to put the pressure on. Meanwhile, Henderson and Speed Race are also close together. So a lot of battles going on at the moment, but a lot of struggling to overtake as well is something else I'm picking up. Ian and Nick, though, has a Lexus behind him as he makes his way out of Chapel. So this is really cracking stuff, and the Lexus is a bullet in a straight line, so he could very well see an overtake here. There's a yellow flag. Car 48 is the car causing said yellow flag. That's Dave Ross, so unfortunate. It's a similar spot to earlier on in this race as well, I believe. The Lexus not able to get close enough to make a move, but he was closing in. Parker wants this position, but now he's heading through the part where the Lexus will struggle. The slow speed, the twisty bits, where the Lexus turns from a race car into the Titanic, except not underwater. As now Eda Nick gets to pull away a little bit of a gap, and in fact he closes in on Hoggy quite a bit through this sector because of the nature of the corners, but still he will have to worry about the threat from the looming Lexus behind him, and it doesn't matter where he looks at the moment, he will be seeing a Lexus on his screen. So he's just got to keep his eyes forward and trying to attack Hoggy instead of being under pressure from Parker. Now, back up the front, it looks like Steve-O put the burners on a bit. He pulled away about 7/10. As Chris Munro saying, there's the pay rise. Thank you for the $10, mate. Absolutely cracking stuff from Christopher Munro. He's a little bit sick at the moment, but I'll tell you what, he'll definitely be there for the Wednesday Cup action tomorrow night. So, yeah, feeding the money back into Sensational, and I'm sure Zach O'Reilly will see that one pop up and go, hang on, Chris, why are you donating to yourself? And doesn't matter, mate. It's the thought that counts. Thank you, Chris, for that one, and I hope you're enjoying the Fargone racing action, because quite honestly, it's quite close together, and being a 70-minute race with a pit stop at some point here, it's only going to get better. As Griffin still looking to attack Steve-O, who I said got the burners on a bit, but Griffin looks to have an extra gear as well. Ron's getting tempted now. He's like, I'm normally the one that puts the money in here. I'm normally the one lining your pockets. Now Munro puts the donation in, puts the super chat in, and now Ron's tempted. So let's see. Is there going to be a tipping war? As I can't compete with whole money bags. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what Ron pulls out of the bag. Let's see. Does he have something to compete with the one, the only? I think we know he does from historical events. Gotta get Fabian in here. Yeah, I think so. Do the broadcasters get a cut of the donos? Ask Chris that question. As Ron's saying, you can try, Chris. Oh, Ron, I don't know if he can try. I don't know if his missus will be too happy about him throwing a bunch of money into YouTube. I don't know. Let's see what he can pull together here, can we? Are we gonna get a bidding war here in the Fargone chat? So the battle up the front here for the lead, still close together, but just staying a little bit stagnant here. Meanwhile, Hoggy is really under pressure. I said Eda Nick was closing. Now he's arrived on the scene as they make their way into Cop's Corner. We know the Lexus has superior straight line speed, but the Merc is no slouch either. So with a bit of slipstream, he should still catch up. So Hoggy making his way into Chapel, and it looks like Eda Nick's gone wide there. So this is really cracking stuff, because now Parker gets to show a nose up the inside. He's in the slipstream. He's closing in. As now, will he be able to make a move? Eda Nick not close enough to go for it on Hoggy. Will the Lexus, however, it's a Lexus sandwich here, actually, I was going to say. But now Parker can't get alongside. So this battle here, this is the battle for P8. Absolutely kicking off as, there we go, Ron Marshall. Ron Marshall now with the $10 as well, matching Chris. As here we go, ladies and gentlemen, it's all kicking off on the track in the YouTube land as well. And let's see, what can Eda Nick put on display? Let's go on board with the Mercedes into Abbey. It looks like he just gains a lot of time through the exits, but the Lexus pulls away on the 100% throttle. So it looks like it's going to be a game of being patient, picking your moment, getting the corners nice and tidy, and setting up your overtake. Nick takes it out wider, cuts back across, now sits in the slipstream as they head through Aintree, trying to close in on the Lexus. As now in the slipstream, he's gaining and gaining and gaining, but he's not gaining enough by the looks of it into Brooklands and Luffield. That is the straight line speed of the Lexus on full display there, ladies and gentlemen. So that's car 58 slow. That's Carden. He was in a battle earlier on. So let's quickly take our eyes off of it. Oh, that's just a spin off of Chapel. That's really bad. We don't get much of a view of it, but you can see him spearing off the track and rejoining. It's a really big accident there. That's a lot of damage on his Ford Mustang. But now, back to the action. Nick has decided to pull into the pit lane. So Nick decides he doesn't want a bar of it. He doesn't want the battling. He doesn't want any of it. He was going to go into war with the two Toyotas with fancy badges, but he decides against it and pits his AMG, the first one to come into the pits all race. So you can see there on the track map, quite a lot of circulating around this circuit. Basically, everybody is at a corner of some description around this circuit. All of the corners are filled except Luffield. So that is a big field spread, but there's just a few micro battles. And that is the beauty of these drivers in Fargone, because you have your sort of pace categories. You have, you know, your Stevo, Griffin, Maddie, and Longy, who are the top tier. But at Silverstone, it looks like Maddie and Longy quite aren't on the level of the two Bentleys. They're very close. And then you have Maddie and Longy, who are on the same pace. Then you have Racer, Henderson, and Lee that normally battle with each other. Then you have Hoggy, Parker, who are in the same car, as well as Nick. And, you know, everybody sort of sticks together. But now they're running into blue flags. That is the 51 car, I believe, as they make their way past the Aston Martin now. The 510 car, Lee, as he gets out of the way very kindly there, as that's the 58 again off, causing yellow flags. As now out of the final corner and then towards turn one, these two sitting close together. They're the closest battle on track, I think. Actually, no. The two Japanese machines are within 0.3 of a second of each other. The two loudest cars on the circuit, the two best sounding cars on the circuit. I did say it was the Lambo earlier, but I'm going to rescind my statement, because listen to this thing. Let's go on board here with James Parker. Let's go into the cockpit. Listen to that thing. Let's turn up the audio. Let's crank it up here for a moment. I'm just going to let you enjoy as it sings down the straight and listen. Overtake begins. Yeah, wow, what a noise that Lexus makes. That is absolutely incredible, but Parker did fall off the back of Hoggy just a little bit, but also so did Griffin. That gap sitting at 0.8 according to leaderboard, 1.5 according to my software, so who knows when we head through the sector split. Broads and Tim Bradley close together as they head towards the Vale chicane, as it looks like the McLaren really putting the pressure on now towards that Ferrari 296. I think I've gone deaf listening to that Lexus, as that's a big mistake out of the Vale chicane and through Club Corner there for Broads. That allows Bradley to get even closer as they head through what would be the F1 first sector. They're giving it a go here. Bradley not quite alongside, but definitely all over the rear end, as now they're nearly side by side. Broads slams the door shut on the entry to Bradley, who was showing the nose on the racing line. As now, will he go for a move at the loop? No. They're staying patient. Staying in a nice little bit of single file action at the moment, showing the nose, trying to force a mistake, trying to mind punt the Ferrari in front of them at the moment is Bradley. But now in the slipstream, he's going to pull to the left-hand side. He's going to look up the inside. Can he get it done? Oh, that's a bit of a jerk there under braking for Broads, who's trying to slam the door shut. He holds onto the place. Bradley not making any contact there, but it's really close stuff between these two at the moment. This is the battle for P11. So it's not a small amount of points. As now Bradley gets the run off of Luffield, and he's pulling ahead here. He's inching forward, inching ahead, and into P11. Bradley goes just before the line, so it updates on the timing tower as well. Tim Bradley making a really awesome move there in the car number 78, moving up into 11th place, though I don't think this is over. Bradley made the move. Now Broads is going to try and get it back. He has a straight ahead of him with a little bit of slipstream to try and get the nose back up the inside. So did he get a good run onto the hangar straight? It looks like it. The Ferrari still there. Broads still waiting to attack. They have a Nissan in the background of the camera shot as well. They can't let him get too close, as actually looks like Bradley just about has the gap as they head into Stoke Corner. This is still one of the closest battles on the track, as the gap up the front has extended to 1.6 seconds. Steve-O has activated Superman mode, as the Lexus drivers are really close together, as well as Henderson and Speed Race, who have been battling all race but never side by side, and now going to go at it, because that is a little bit of a wobble there from Racer. So here comes Nathan Henderson looking for a move in the slipstream. Is he going to go up the inside? No, he's not going to go up the inside. He probably could have taken a lunge, but he's going to be patient. He's going to stay cool, calm, and collected. There's still 45 minutes to go here in Silverstone. So still, he's giving it his best effort, but he doesn't want to end his own race. And I respect that out of a driver in a race of this length. That's exactly the mindset you need to be having. Is let's look off the rear wing of Hoggy through Luffield. Oh, he's basically nearly been hit there by Parker. The two Lexus drivers absolutely going hammer and tong here, but just not giving each other the push and shove just yet. But it looks like Hoggy's better where it matters, I think. He's better through the Maggot, Speckets and Chapel complex, which we will confirm in a minute, I'm sure. But then as you head through the rest of the lap, Parker makes up the time. But let's see, as they're so close together, Parker can basically just reach out and touch the rear bumper of his fellow Lexus as they make their way through Maggots, Beckets and Chapelers. Yeah, there it is. I think Hoggy's just a little bit more committed, but Parker's actually stayed with him quite well that time. Just a little bit wider, a little bit of a worse exit there, but he's still all over the back of him as they head now towards Stowe Corner. It's the run down the hangar straight towards Stowe now. Are they going to go side by side? No. In fact, Parker just doesn't have the legs, which is really surprising with the slipstream in the same car, but still not able to make anything budge here as they head towards the Vale chicane. This is what I was saying. I think this is where Parker then gains the time back on his compatriot, and it could be a setup difference, it could be a driver difference, who knows. It could be one of a million factors here in Assetto Corsa Competizione as these drivers go at it. Equal machinery as potentially different setup, as I said, and I think is probably the main idea behind it, as Longy just a little bit far off the back of Matty at the moment. That gap's hitting 2.1 seconds as, yeah, Steve-O is creeping away, Ron. But that's what he tends to do. At the start there, I didn't know if he was going to do that or not, but Steve-O is inevitable. And he got the 1 second gap, and then once he gets the 1 second gap, it's just more and more and more and more. It's not as much of a gap as usual. It's still a gap nonetheless, and it'll continue to eke out if Steve-O does what Steve-O does, but a pit stop window as well. Being open can change all of that in a heartbeat. So you never know as we look to Hoggy and Parker again. I still never thought I'd see the day that Hoggy sits in the cockpit of something that isn't Italian, but he sits in the cockpit of the Lexus instead. And when I say Italian, I mean specifically from Maranello, not from Lamborghini or anything. He's always sat in a Ferrari since I've been commentating Fargone, and now he's in the Lexus, so it's definitely refreshing to see, and I'll be refreshed to see a livery on some of these cars as well next round when I actually go ahead and download them. As everybody in the chat, we're reaching that point in the race. We're about half an hour in. How are we finding the race so far, everyone? How are we traveling? Let me know in the chat. That's a bit of a mistake there, though, off of Stowe from Hoggy. And now Parker's on the outside. Hoggy holding it tight inside. And now Parker's trying to set up the exit through Club into Club Corner. He gets a fantastic slingshot run here on Hoggy, and it could be game on here between the two Lexuses. Hoggy defending the inside. Now Parker showing the nose the long way round of Abby. Surely not here. It's almost an impossible move to try and make in GT cars, and he can't get it done, but he opens up the corner again. Gets the good exit. Hoggy's made another mistake. He's off into the grass. He hits the brakes on the outside of the circuit. Now he returns back onto the racing surface, still just about ahead. Cool, calm and collected there from Hoggy to keep it still going in a straight line in a moment like that, with the pressure being on behind as well. But now he's compromised as they head through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. Parker is now here. He's arrived on the scene. He's on the outside towards Brooklands and Luffield they go. Will it be a position swap here between the two of them? Hoggy late on the brakes, inching forward and inching ahead once again. Parker not giving it up though, opening up the exits, opening up everything he possibly can here. TC further down. Engine all the way if he was saving fuel. Anything you can imagine he's probably doing that's at his disposal at the moment, and he's trying to give it a red hot go, but he hasn't gotten through. The two Lexuses still fighting, and Parker looks like, I think he has the upper hand at some points, but Hoggy just seems to be able to hold on when it counts. Maybe a lower wing setting, something along those lines, being the difference between overtaking and not being able to overtake there for Parker. But still, Hoggy's tyres will be feeling that. He would have been sliding when he was on the grass, and Silverstone not particularly kind to that sort of behaviour, as Parker's all up behind him again here as they make their way towards Stowe. I think Hoggy's going to live to fight another day here. Steve-O now stretched out 2.4 seconds, so that's the gap between Maddie and Longy, so similar pace deficit between the two of them. This is still the closest battle on the track. As how did Hoggy keep the position? Tash, you're asking the wrong person, because I thought he was done for. But once again, it's going to be a carbon copy repeat here. Parker opening up the final corner. Said the final corner again. It's not F1, Lindsay. Out of Vale chicane and through Club Corner. He's opened it up again. Not as well as last time, but still he's definitely applying the pressure here as they head through Abbey and then towards Farm Curve. He's all over the back of Hoggy. This is a place where you can go for a late braking maneuver. Hoggy places the car in the middle of the circuit. And now Parker's forced the long way around, and he can't get alongside into the loop. Will he show the nose? No. He's now going to focus on the exit once again. He knows that he's struggling to out-drag his fellow Lexus. Now he's going to try and use the exit to get on top of it, but I think he took it out a little bit too wide. He's lost time to Hoggy there, but really, these two going at it. Not push and shove, but some respectful racing between these two, to say the least. It's fantastic to see, as everybody's still circulating around this track, as there are mandatory stops still to be served. Eda Nick still the only car to have come through the pit lane so far in this race here, in this 70-minute race. I expect them to pit at around half an hour to go, 35 minutes to go, so we are approaching at least what would be my predicted pit window, but I'm not exactly sure what the situation is, whether it's fuel, tyres, or otherwise. That is the mandatory part of the stop, so they could be taking it very, very late, or they could be taking it around when I think they're going to take it. But if it's just a fuel stop, I would go half and half, I think, personally, but it all depends. Pick your poison. And I think at the moment that this battle, I think it's going to be a poor exit there for Parker. Hoggy just took a more open line. These two are going to continue to go at it, but the rest of it staying pretty stagnant. Speed Racer and Henderson unable to get side by side despite the 4/10 gap. These two going side by side a few times, but Hoggy putting on a defensive display for the ages here. We'll start calling him Sergio Perez soon enough, if he keeps putting on defensive displays like that. Steve-O nearly 3 seconds out in the lead, and Maddie and Longy 2.1 seconds away. As Tash saying everyone else on ACC, but Hoggy's playing Dirt Rally and winning the Lexus 1v1. Absolutely, as that's a great exit. Why am I coughing now? Come on, Lindsay, get it together. As Parker's had a good run on Hoggy again, but I think Hoggy's just going to do the same old thing, place the car in the middle of the road. But I think that Parker's thinking about showing the elbow. No, he doesn't go up the inside. One of these times, he'll stay to the right-hand side and just absolutely go for it. But at this point in the race, it's not worth it. Hoggy doing some really good defensive work at the moment. This is cracking stuff to watch. Equal Machinery always creates some of the closest racing, and yeah, it's really good to see. But Parker still sitting up behind, still trying to get a move done, as they're catching some lapped traffic here of Dave Ross. Also, I think, no, that's Perkins, just 3.2 seconds up the road. I'm not sure if they're gaining on him or not. I wasn't keeping an eye on that gap. Have I lost the broadcast? My phone keeps auto-playing past the broadcast, and I'm trying to look at chat. Anyway, both the Lexuses come into the pit lane, and Maddie as well. So strategy is absolutely identical between the two Lexus drivers. So they're not driving the same, but they're battling with each other. They're next to each other on the track, very similar in qualifying, and now the same pit strategy. So you can't separate these two at all, and they're next to each other in the pit lane. These two are absolutely unreal with their similarities in this one. As Munro saying Parker should have gone around again. It depends, really, Munro, because if he has the fuel in the car, then I would probably say, yes, try an overcut. The worst that can happen is that, you know, Hoggy gets another 2 tenths away, and then you just close it in again. But, yeah, it all depends on their fuel situation. Maybe they cut it to the last lap of their tank. Who bloody knows? As, where has Maddie come out in all of this? Maddie comes out in P9, and now she's trying the undercut strategy here on Longy. That gap was about 2.1 seconds. No, was it Longy behind Maddie? Maddie behind Longy. I'm having a brain fart. I'm a great commentator. No, give me a break. It's 10:30 at night. That's my excuse here. But yeah, I would agree with you, Chris, if he had the fuel. But I'm not sure what the fuel situation is like. As Steve-O comes into the pit lane, Griffin, however, doesn't. So unlike the two Lexus drivers, the two Bentley drivers aren't on the same strategy. Griffin, despite having 3 seconds to Steve-O in front, is still going to try the overcut here. And let's see how well it pays off for him. 34 minutes to go in this race here at Silverstone. We're in a bit of a lull period while the pit stop happens and all of that goes on. As, yeah, Maddie was P3. Okay. So Longy trying the overcut. I was right the first time. Here on Maddie to try and get the place, but you never know how strong it is. I personally don't know how strong it is here around Silverstone. If this was the F1 game, I'd know that anybody just pit even a lap earlier is gonna gain about 2 seconds and definitely undercut, but even by a lap. But here in ACC, when it comes to how the cars work and the lines to take and what cars are strong in what areas, I'm fairly knowledgeable. And what cars are strong where, etc. But when it comes to strategy, I'm not a strategist. So normally if it's a 1 hour race, I split the fuel in half, and that's what I go for. If it's a mandatory stop and stuff like that. I'm a very simple man with it when it comes to strategy. But yeah, Griffin still extending out the front here. Steve-O came out of the pits in P5, and he's going to be giving it a good go at the moment. Griffin, how much has he put fuel in the car is the question I'm wondering. Will he come in this lap and make it only a one-cut undercut here from one-lap undercut, one-lap overcut from himself? Or is he going to go one more? No, he pulls off to the right-hand side, so Steve-O has a one-lap undercut. He's gone up the inside of the pit lane entrance. But he has, by the looks of it, gotten it stopped for the pit lane entry. We'll see when he comes out. So let's stay with Griffin. Everybody else coming in as well. I think that's Longy in the background into the pits. So they've gone one extra lap, trying the overcut, seeing if it gains them time, loses them time, whichever. And now we're going to see how this all pans out. So Griffin pulls into the pit box. He is at the end of the pit lane. Steve-O halfway down the Wellington Straight. He's making his way towards Brooklands. You can see that on the track map. That number 1 is the car you'll want to be looking for here. He is the key to this one. Or you can look for the number 5. They're both next to each other on the track. However, MJ hasn't pitted yet. So Griffin's still in his pit box, Steve-O making his way out of Luffield. He's gaining and gaining and gaining. I think that the undercut is going to be just fine. Griffin off the jacks now, but Steve-O flies through turn 1. And that gap is going to continue. In fact, I think it's larger than 3 seconds this time. As we'll see through the sector split. Actually, I can tell you now, it's 4.6 seconds is the gap between the two of them. So Steve-O's undercut actually there has worked to an absolute dream. So he will be loving every second of that. As Speed Racer's got a stop-go 30, he sped into the pit lane. So, not ideal for his race. Yep, Steve-O through the sector split. No, sorry, 2.8 seconds, the gap, so it's about the same. My software was lying to me. The gap's staying about the same between the two of them. At the moment, undercut, overcut, or otherwise, I think maybe he gained 0.3 of a second on Steve-O with that pit strategy. And we'll see how that all goes for him, as meanwhile, we'll stay with this one. Hoggy looking at Lee Perkins, but Parker, not sure if that happened in the pit lane or it happened when they were battling Lee Perkins, because we're staying with Griffin. But once all strategies played out and everybody's together, now we have a three-way battle. It's Lexus City, but it's Lexus of Parker. Then you have Perkins. Then you have Hoggy in a three-way train, and Parker looks to have the pace and it could be pulling away. But then again, Lee Perkins definitely putting on a good show, and Speed Racer, they're all going to gain a free place because Racer has to put in a stop goes 30, so he's going to have to pull into the pits at some point. So all of these cars that are battling, as he gets past Swooper there, will gain a free place, as we'll stay with Lee Perkins. So Maddie says in the chat, my brain can't comprehend how the overcut undercut worked. I think Maddie explained it 10 times to me. But other than pitting to avoid dirty air in F1, I don't get how it works. Okay. So, in F1, usually it is a little bit about dirty air. But basically, the premise of the overcut and undercut is if you pit, it's about tyres. So if you pit one lap earlier, you get a lap with fresher tyres compared to everybody else's worn tyres, which has a significant lap time difference. So, if you're not too badly affected by cold tyres or the circuit blends into it, you can pit one lap earlier, and say you're 1 second behind the car in front of you, you could end up a second ahead of the car in front of you. Because your tyres were fresher and you're able to push the car more on your outlap than the driver you're trying to get past. The overcut works in, you think that the cold tyres are going to lose the person who's trying to undercut time, and so you pit, say, a lap or two later, it could be more, depending on how much you want to exaggerate it. And so you gain time because the driver that's trying to undercut you, or even the car in front of you who's pitted earlier, has cold tyres, so they can't push their car as hard. And so you gain time on them, and then you come out of the pit lane in front of them, or further ahead of them, depending on where you were. So it's just about gaining time on the car around you, depending on if you pit earlier or later. And as well, you can use the overcut and undercut to avoid traffic, to avoid dirty air. So say you're coming up to a gaggle of lapped cars at Monaco, you can see that you're catching up to a bunch of cars and pit, and then the cars who stayed behind them instead and lapped them probably lost time. So you'll be hoping that you gain time to get past them. But does it catch up to you at the end when your tyre is a lap older? Yes. Yes, that is the caveat of the undercut. So, in some series, 1 lap doesn't make much of a difference, but in F1, sometimes it can make the difference, but that's why usually undercuts are more exaggerated, so you'll have a 3 or a 4 lap undercut. But, yes, so the premise of it is if you do take the undercut, you will have more tyre wear at the end, which then could adversely affect your ability to hold on to the position. Whereas if you overcut, you'll have 1 lap fresher tyres, so even if you've ended up behind and the overcut hasn't worked, you can then try and overtake them again at the end of the race when your tyres are a tiny bit better. Hope I've explained that well. As the 780 car's slow, that's Grundor. He's just come to a halt. Let's see if we can get a replay. So he's making his way into Stowe. He's behind Dave Ross and the P2 car of Griffin. He's making his way towards Vale. Maddie's in the rear view. Oh, that's nasty. As Dave Ross is gone, he's gone. It's a nightmare for everybody. It's a bit of a major incident there. And Grondor is now going again, but yeah, really not ideal. As Ron's saying, that was explained very well. Thank you. I was hoping so. I was trying to make it sound as simple as possible, but sometimes I overcomplicate things because I'm much like my dad in that sense. I love to over-explain. But let's look back to our favourite battle, which is actually spacing out a bit. Parker actually putting in work here and pulling away a bit, but Lee Perkins still definitely under the threat of the Lexus of Hoggy. So I think that Parker might be trying to gun it up the road. However, these two definitely will still be going out at this gap, sitting at about 0.5 of a second in. Alexis has superior straight line speed, so an overtaking opportunity could be interesting. As Tash saying this is the same thing my brain does when people try to explain the rules of board games, but I appreciate if you're trying. I tried. I don't know. I understand what you're talking about, though. Sometimes people explain things to me 100 times in the simplest, most dumbed down way possible, and I just still don't get it. It's like people trying to it's people trying to explain chess to me. I can play chess if I'm online and it tells me where I can put my pieces, but I can't actually grasp it. People can explain to me 100 times how to play it. I don't get it. So I get what you mean. Sometimes it just doesn't stick in your head. But you're enjoying the racing. That's the main thing that's here to be taken away. Swooper still sits with a mandatory pit stop. Actually, no, he didn't get it for speeding in the pits then, I think that, oh no, it was Racer who got his stop go 30, never mind. Yeah, so Swooper still yet to pit, as this battle has died down a bit, actually, because Hoggy's dropped off the back of Perkins. I didn't see the mistake. I was probably looking at chat when he made a mistake, or he's just not got the pace in general. But Perkins still trying to close back up to the back of Parker, who's driving very, very superbly at the moment. There's still 24 minutes to go-ish in this race. And, no, I think we're going to do, at the start of this next lap, we're going to go on board with, Hoggy as he makes his way around a lap of, I'd like to get spacing out a bit. Yeah. We're going to go on board here with Hoggy for a full lap of Silverstone. So we'll go from onboard. This onboard here, enjoy the sounds, sights and sounds of the V8 Lexus as he tries to close back up to Lee Perkins, who's trying to close in on Parker. that is a lap completed on board with the Lexus as it makes its way around this Silverstone circuit. What a noise it makes, and unfortunately Hoggy wasn't able to close in on Lee Perkins at all, but Perkins is closing in still on Parker. This is the closest battle on the circuit, I believe, going at the moment. The leaders, the top three, without major incident, is pretty much solidified. 3.5 seconds from Griffin to Reese, and then 3.5 seconds from Maddie to Griffin. So, looking like a fairly standard Steve performance as Tash comes out of nowhere with the $10 saying "burr," which is the sound of the Lexus. And I'll tell you what, the Lexus makes money. That's it. That's the cheat code right there. That sound of that stunning V8 is just absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Tash. You always watch when we do Fargone, and I'm happy that we're back for every round because this is absolutely great racing here tonight as Parker has closed up to the back of Swooper, who's going to oblige and get out of the way. He's not too fast. He just doesn't want to affect the battle. So they swoop past Swooper, who is yet to pit in this race. The Mustang going quite a ways in as Parker wasn't too adversely affected, but Perkins definitely a little bit closer. That gap now 6.5 tenths, so it's not over just yet. Lee Perkins in car number 55 wants this battle to reignite between the two of them. The BMW lacks straight line speed compared to the Lexus, but it has quite a bit of pace underneath it. But Parker's driving the wheels off that Lexus at the moment, doing very well for himself. It's car 27 slow. That's Swooper actually, who was slow. Oh, he just had a moment off of Brooklands and Luffield. That's not ideal. But he rejoins unscathed. Just oh, as he rejoins, there we go. Pit limiter on, and he's finally into the pit lane. The last car to make his mandatory stop in this race. So, Parker definitely under pressure now from Lee Perkins. This battle definitely back underway. The lap car, or not the lap car, the yet to pit car, a Swooper at the point in time that he was in front of them, probably helped out Perkins a little bit, and now they're right there with each other, 4 seconds up the road to Edenick. Unlikely they'll close that gap, especially if they start going side by side, but not yet over between these two. The gap 5 tenths. So the BMW, Lee Perkins, is going to have to really focus in on his exits and on his cornering speed, because the Lexus in a top speed competition wins 10 times out of 10, even if the BMW has a slipstream. So it's going to be about picking your moment correctly and driving phenomenally to get a place in a situation like this, because as much as that Lexus is punching a very, very, very wide hole in the air with the size of the thing, it's not punching a hole wide enough for that BMW to be able to pip it in a straight line. It's going to be about the exits, about the cornering speed, and about being right underneath the rear wing of the Lexus when push comes to shove. He has 16 and a half minutes just over to try and get this move done. So give or take a few laps, that's about 7 or 8 laps, 8 laps around this circuit to go. As car 48 slow, that's Dave Ross who's at a moment. Ooh. Let's watch. LM can quit. Lindsay Model can quit goals at this rate, mate. I'll tell you what. Well, it's $3, $10, $30. That's like a 3-hour shift at Coles. Yeah, that's a big moment into the wall for Dave Ross. He's really had some struggles this race, and he's struggling with the Mercedes, and Silverstone bites hard as well. And yeah, that is the scene we saw, and that's why there was a... Oh, he's gone again live here. We cut back from the replay, spun it. Chapel, he's having a disaster class. The Mercedes doesn't want to go in the right direction anymore. And that is really not ideal. Oh, he's gone again! As we're watching the Dave Ross Damage Drift Show. And Ross really struggling in this one to keep the car going in a straight line. The tyres are cooked, the car is cooked, everything under the sun in the cockpit of Dave Ross's car is just not working. He was hoping the pit lane was right there and open. Oh, now he's going to try and cut the Vale chicane. Oh, no! He's off. He's waiting for... No, I'm not, Ron. I don't expect anything, mate. Absolutely not why I do this. Oh, as Ross has gone at club corner, I think he's given up. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut off him. Every driver loses their head at some point, and I think that is the final straw there for Dave Ross. With 15 minutes to go, he got so close to making it the full 70. He might not be done yet, but he's still got to make it around quite a bit of the lap with red mist just pouring out of his car at this point, not just through his visor. Wait, you work cold shifts and go to school and broadcast? Yeah, I mean, I only do 3 to 4 shifts a week at Coles. So I do customer service and shelf stacking. I'm a split team member. And so normally I work 4 to 7 or 4 to 9 after school. But Tuesday I have booked out because I do 2 commentaries in the afternoon. That's the one day that I have booked out in a normal week. And so I normally work Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. If I'm doing 4 shifts, or Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday like I've got this week. Sometimes I'll do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, 4 shifts a week. At my age, they don't really give me many hours, so it's just 3 to 5 hour shifts. In the holidays, though, I get 6 hours, 7 hour shifts. And then so, yeah, Monday's normally a free day. Tuesday's is always a free day, but then I do 2 broadcasts after school. Then Wednesday I do 4 till 7, and then I get back after work and I do whatever, whether I have a call, a league race, whatever, but normally it's nothing going on a Wednesday afternoon. So I just have school and work. Thursday, similar story, but I don't have any problems on a Thursday because nothing runs on a Thursday, except tomorrow I'm doing OR sprint split red at 9 o'clock. Because honestly I've been getting bored on Thursday afternoons. And then Friday, pretty much the same again. So it's just, and then Saturday, Sundays, whatever hours they put me on, plus whatever commentary I have. But yeah, anyway, if you're a grinder, what the hell, you should rent a Lambo and make motivational videos. But like the influence that is influencing. I couldn't do it. I couldn't, yeah, no, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face. I'm serious in all the wrong moments, and I'm unserious in all the wrong moments. So I would end up just laughing. But no, I mean, I'm not really a grinder. I live what I feel like is fairly normal, you know. But at least my dad does 3 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. shifts. Then he comes home, does stuff at home, cooks dinner, most of the time, and then, you know, does whatever else he needs to do. So I've grown up with dad like that. Mum works at Woolies as well, so she's always working, doing stuff around the house, whatever. Just normal to me. I mean, it doesn't feel like that much. Honestly, the only bit that's overwhelming me at the moment is the fact that I'm also applying for about 8 million apprenticeships so I can leave school at the end of the year. Which is just making it so like it never stops. But no, I don't find it too bad because I love the commentary. That's the part. I love the broadcasting. I love all this stuff. This is my passion. So it just is fun to me. And then, you know, I can sim race as well. I have the rig sitting next to me right now. Yeah, I don't know. It feels pretty normal to me. I've always done whatever I feel is right, and working's not that bad. I get paid for it. I don't get paid to go to school, so I don't know. That's my that's how I feel about it. But anyway, 10 minutes to go in this race, and it looks like all of the battling has really just come to a lull here. Parker's pulled away from Parker, but he is closing in here on Eda Nick. So we'll go to Eda Nick, and we'll go off the rear wing. Actually, no, it's too far away to go off the rear wing, but he is being closed down, but 10 minutes to go. It's going to be close to see if Parker can catch up to Eda Nick, but yeah, we'll see the lap time. So last lap around for Parker, 2:01, and Eda Nick did a 2:09 last time around. So yeah, it's not enough at the moment. Actually, no, that would be enough. What am I on about? That's definitely enough at the current rate, but it all depends. Eda Nick's on a good lap at the moment. He's on for a 59.3. So it looks interesting here because Parker will either close up in the dying stages or he won't have time. I'm not sure he's going to have the time because I think they're kind of going lap on lap at the moment. That gap's extended this lap, but it gained a lot the last lap. It's all about how these drivers are driving through any given lap. So I think that Eda Nick should be able to hold on with a comfortable margin as well. There's 8 minutes to go, just over in this race. So 2 minutes a lap. So 4 to go in this race. And it is still kicking off at the moment. That's for your life story. Mate, I wasn't. You don't have to do that, Ron. Yeah, cheers, Ron. I really appreciate that. No, I mean, it wasn't really a life story. It was just like Tash was talking about it, and I was like, you know, just day in the. That's my schedule at the moment. But no, cheers, Ron. I really appreciate that. And yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I love doing all this stuff, and so just having anybody interacting in the chat, having Simsational watching along as well, Simsational backing me as well. I broadcast with Simsational's been so good. Chris and Zach definitely the two best commentators I know, and when they took me in after Bathurst 12, yeah, it's been fun ever since. We always have a good time if we're in the comms box together, or you know, they'll happily let me call stuff like Fargone and facilitate that all going on. And Munro sets up the broadcast for me, gets the thumbnails done. He's a workhorse, and yeah, it's been good. So yeah, love doing this stuff. So it's good, and I hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, we're going to be here every week for Fargo on Wednesday Cups tomorrow night as well with Sensational. I won't be there, but yeah, it'll be Zach and Chris, who is sick at the moment, but I'm sure he'll be fine coming tomorrow, or he'll be good enough to at least say a couple of spluttery words while Zach yells his head off. As thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. I fit right in. Well, I guess that's what Zach and Monroe think. And so yeah, it's been really good. And yeah, yeah, and then Sunday. Well, no, Sunday we don't have supercars. That's not started yet. We got Bathurst 6 Hour on August 9th and 10th. With the new Gen 3s, which, by the way, if you haven't checked them out already, please go and do that. The boys in AK put on an absolute masterclass with that mod. I tried it the other night. It is absolutely fantastic. You can feel everything. The cars handle really nice, realistic. Yeah, definitely one of the better Assetto Corsa mods I've tried in my day. Top 2, I think, because I mean, I'm a big lover of the Formula Hybrid 2021, if there's one thing you need to know about me. So for me, personally, that's something that can't be topped. But yeah, that Gen 3 supercar, the V1 version, is absolutely spectacular. So yeah, no supercars at the moment until Bathurst 6, I believe. But yeah, Wednesday Cup will be on every week. Fargone every Tuesday night. Now that all the scheduling's sorted. And other than that, I don't think we have much going on because LMU on Monday just doesn't work. We can't get the game to work, so we can't therefore broadcast it. That's a bit of a tricky one. But we still keep at that every week, and the big launch of the game just happened, so I haven't tried to broadcast it since then. I need to see if the V 1.0 like launch patch. Interclub challenge on Monday? Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, we have the that's the like the League v Leagues event, isn't it? With AK, Rangier. Yeah, AK, Fargone, OZNZ, and GT Club. Okay, there we go. I completely forgot about that. Well, I didn't even forget about it. I kind of heard about it once, and then haven't heard about it since. So yeah, Fargone. It's on a set of Corsa, right, Chris? Because obviously Fargone doesn't just run GT Challenge; they run the Drop Bear series as well, don't they? So they already have an AC series going. Yep, AC. And is it randomized cars, or is that information available to the public yet, or what are we looking at here? I'll be streaming that one. Yeah, well, on a Monday night, I mean, I get up to nothing, Chris. So yeah, I'm normally free on a Monday. Very rarely do I work on a Monday. So yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, just ping me on any given Monday and just be like, are you free? And the answer will likely be yes, and then we can get that underway as well. I mean, the more the merrier. In the commentary box, there's 3 minutes to go in this race. Steve-O walking away with it. As I think MJ is having a little bit of a scrap here. Yes, he is. So a battle has closed up. I didn't even see it. It's crept up on me completely. You have Tim Bradley, MJ, and Speed Racer going on absolute fire here. As the first round is Radical SR3 at Slovakia. Oh, mate, I love the Radical SR3. I love the Radicals. The Radicals are so fun. I love the SR3 and the SR10 particularly. The SR10 is probably my favorite to drive. The new SR10, that is, the one with like the sort of F1 style halo. It goes so quick. It just gets off the line. But anyway, back to the racing, now that we do have a bit of a battle going on here. Pit window's closed. Everybody has pitted, however. We have 2.5 minutes remaining, so where is Steve-O on the track? Quickly take a look away from the battle. Steve-O's heading through the loop. So next lap will be the last lap for these boys. Steve-O's heading towards the last lap of the race. So we're heading towards the last lap of this race. There's a battle on. MJ's pulling away by the looks of it in the Lamborghini, but Tim is under pressure here now from Speed Racer, who served a stop-go 30 earlier on in this race. And now he's on a charge, and he's on the inside. Surely not a Maggots, Beckett's, and Chappell. He goes around the outside. He sweeps through on Tim Bradley. Gets the move done. That's that battle done and dusted. I think Bradley's not going to have much to try and attack a Ford Mustang, and MJ has booked it up the road. So now we'll go to Steve-O. He's entered the last lap of this race as Henderson, not really under pressure from anybody. I saw my Delta showing differently, but yeah. Steve-O, usual performance really, isn't it? He got pole position in a very, very, very close qualifying session by 0.02 of a second over Justin Griffin. And it was such a close pole, but it was a fantastic lap from Stephen Rees. He's in the Bentley this season. He was telling me before the night started that he wasn't feeling too comfortable with the way the car was handling at high speed. He was saying it was a bit understeer, he won't have the pace, whatnot. Throwing all the racing driver excuses as good night, Ron, and Yeah, I'll talk to you at some point. I don't know. I'll probably be in the chat lingering around after I finish work tomorrow for Wednesday Cup. So I probably won't be in the box because I finish after the racing has begun by quite a margin. And also Wednesday Cup, very quick races. So 3 comms is a little bit tricky to pull off. Not the usual, unless it's a finale, which is always fun, having 3 people in the box. But yeah, Steve-O had a fantastic pole, and he wasn't driving away at first. It was looking like a new dawn for Fargone with the 2 Bentleys battling away, and Matty and Longy, but he just slowly eked out that gap. He did what Steve-O does best. He just reeled it out slowly. He used his patience, his grit, his determination, and then now out of the final corner, he's going to reign victorious. He makes his way through Woodcote and towards the line here in Silverstone for round number 2 of Fargone Racing GT Challenge. Stephen Reese reigns victorious. Justin Griffin is going to come home in P2. Matty, a shy few seconds further back in P3. Longy, another few seconds back from that, is going to come across the line now in the Ferrari to take P4. A very fun race overall in the top 4. Nathan Henderson, after a long battle through the first stint, made his pit stop, got a decent gap, and now he's going to get P5 in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage as he crosses the line. Eden Nick still making his way now through the final sector, and in fact Parker did close the gap into 1 second. He's inside the slipstream, but it would have probably been another 2 laps to try and get past, maybe more, depending on the defense and whatnot coming from Eden Nick. But a great drive from Eden Nick, a great drive from James Parker. They're going to come home respectively in P6 and P7. Lee Perkins, another few seconds behind them, coming out of Luffield now to finish up the night as Steve-O take a bow. He's here in the chat. What a win that was. It was a great pole, 0.02 of a second, and you eked it out. Not a dominant performance from you, but 3.6 seconds. That was absolutely intense. 35 quali laps, he calls it, and I would not doubt it for 1 second. The lap times were absolutely fantastic all throughout. Hoggy comes home in P9. MJ still making it to the line, has Speed Racer behind him in the Ford Mustang, but as long as he doesn't spin out of the final corner, he should be home free. And he's going to come home in P10. Speed Racer's going to come home in P11, respectively. Then Tim Bradley, only a few seconds down the road from them, is going to come home in P12. That was a close 3-way fight to end the race. Tobasaya got 13th. Rhodes got 14th. Swooper got 15th. Grundor got 16th. Lee got 17th. And Dave Ross yet to make it to the line. That's a very disheveled Mercedes AMG. And he's making his way out of the final corner now to round off the grid. He's going to come home in P18. We'll get the full final order once he crosses the line. So, Reese gets in first position, fast lap of the race, pole position, the lot, led every lap of the race except when he pitted. Fantastic driving from him, and he only wins by 3.6 seconds. That's definitely a new dawn for Fargone Racing. That means he's going to have a championship fight on his hands. He didn't dominate at Watkins. In fact, he didn't do that well at Watkins, from my memory and considering the reverse championship order. And now he comes back and he bounces back with a win like all champions do. And now it's really game on here for the season. Griffin gets P2 and Matty gets P3. Longy, Henderson, Edenick, Parker, then Perkins is your top 8. Hoggy gets P9, MJ gets P10, Speed Racer gets 11th, Bradley gets 12th, Tobasaya 13th. Holy moly! Tash with the $100. Thanks for moving the other leg to cast this one. Looking forward to another hype Fargone season. Night, everyone. Thank you, Tash. Oh my god, that is too much. Wow, thanks so much, Tash. That's really appreciated. And on that, great night of racing, and for Sensational TV, that is going to be all for tonight's racing action. I don't even know what to say, Tash. Thank you so much, and hope everyone enjoyed the racing tonight, and I'll see you next round and for the rest of the season here with Sensational TV for Fargone Racing GT Challenge. But for me, I've been Lindsay Muddle in the commentary box, and It's been a fantastic night of racing. But until next week, that is going to be all from me. Have a good night, everyone. And see you next round.